大家好，我的名字是陈介飞，我今天想让你知道我要选第39区国会众议员，希望你们可以支持我，谢谢。Hi, my name is Jay Chen, and I'm excited to announce that I am running for Congress in the 39th Congressional District, spanning Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. I hope I can earn your support, and you can learn more about me at chenforcongress.com. I've always believed deeply in service and hard work and giving back to the community. I learned that from my parents. They immigrated here from Taiwan to start their own business, and then they put their kids through public school, and they were so proud to see their boys go on to Harvard, and they always encouraged us to give back. My parents were actually very supportive when I decided to apply for a Navy ROTC scholarship. So they're very proud of me being a part of the United States Navy. I joined because I wanted to serve, and that's also why I ran for school board for Hacienda La Puente Unified and why I ran for the Mount San Antonio College Board of Trustees. I'm currently the president there. My race, and I know that the people of the 39th District know me very, very well. I've been serving in this district since 2007, and I speak Chinese, 我会讲中文，然后我也会讲西班牙语, I hablo español también. So this district is 30% Asian, 30% Latino, and it's a majority minority district. And it's just seeking someone that really understands the problems that people are facing. So, I'm not a career politician. I actually own a business. I'm in the real estate business. I manage tenants ranging from Apple and Gap all the way down to small residential tenants. And nowhere has this pandemic hit harder than with our retailers. And I've seen it. And with our renters. I've seen the impact that the COVID pandemic has had and the impact that the lack of response from the government has had. Young Kim was opposed to the COVID-19 relief bill that Democrats are trying to pass, which I know would have helped a lot of my tenants, would have helped a lot of renters out there feel more secure and stay in their homes. And I'm not just someone who can talk about policy, but I understand the impact of policy. I'm also the father of two little boys, 6 and 5 years old. They're now, as we speak, they're online in front of a computer with distance learning. Yeah. And I know that that is not sufficient. We need to bring back funding to our district so that our schools can reopen and our kids can go back to school physically, and our parents can resume their daily lives as well. Working from home is difficult when you also have to take care of your child's education. So focusing on bringing back funds to our school districts, making sure that our public health officials are fully staffed and equipped so that we can get the vaccines out as quickly as possible. Those are some of my priorities, and making sure that our businesses can survive this pandemic and rebound after we defeat this coronavirus. Those are some of my main priorities. It's time to unite. It's time to set aside these hyper-partisan differences and recognize that that's not what's going to get us through this COVID-19 pandemic. It's not going to get us through the economic downturn that we're still facing. We still have record unemployment. And so now is a time to really unify the American people. They voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden. They wanted a Democratic Senate and they wanted a Democratic House. So being an obstructionist is not the answer right now. And unfortunately, what I've seen from Young Kim is just more of the same, saying that she's going to vote with Kevin McCarthy 100% of the time, calling out Democrats, already saying that she's going to oppose them when she wouldn't oppose Donald Trump. So that's not the kind of hyperpartisanship that we need at this moment. I come from a business background. I've got a family that I'm raising here in the district. I also understand national security. And I want to bring all of these experiences to bear, and to help improve this congressional district. And I'm ready to do that. And I'm ready to serve. And I'm ready to uphold the oath to the Constitution that I took as both a naval officer and as a trustee, and hopefully as a Congress member. It was really while I was serving abroad this past year. I was deployed to the Middle East in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, which is the campaign to fight ISIS. I saw some of the real severe problems with our politics. So I'm a Navy intelligence officer, a lieutenant commander. I was managing an intelligence team. And we had a lot of threats that we had to deal with. We had Iranian ballistic missiles. We had Iraq Shiite militias. We had ISIS, which was the main focus. But the biggest challenge we had was when COVID-19 hit. So I was on that base when COVID-19 hit, and immediately we went into lockdown. Everyone had to wear masks. We took it very, very seriously. But back home, I was watching the news, and we had a president that was telling everyone, "Oh, don't wear masks. Masks, aren't going to do you any good." And people were just politicizing the pandemic for political reasons. And I was watching the explosion of COVID-19 across the Middle East, in Kuwait, in Iran. In Iran, it was increasing by thousands per week, and then thousands per day. And I thought, well, this is what happens when a country doesn't, doesn't inform its people, and when politicians lie to their own constituents and don't take the health experts seriously. But today we have the worst pandemic, the worst response in the entire world, worse than Iran, worse than any other country. And it's because politicians just keep politicizing, healthcare and our own security, when what they have to do is unite, come together, let's get rid of the lies, and let's just try to get through this. This was basically, the United States has been at war with a virus, and the country's leaders have not come together to defeat it. And then it all came to a head finally January 6th, as you know, when the lies about voter fraud, pushed by the president and also by politicians, inspired and incited people to attack the U.S. Capitol. After that attack, it reminded me when I was in Iraq. I was in Iraq, but I watched from my base as the Iraq U.S. embassy in Baghdad was attacked by militias, and that was an act of war. And what they did to our capital was also, if it was orchestrated by a foreign government, would have been an act of war. But our Congress, including our Congresswoman Young Kim, refused to hold Donald Trump accountable. It was just unacceptable. She swore an oath to defend the Constitution. I swore the same oath. We don't swear an oath to defend a political party or a president. And in this case, again, she was putting partisan politics above the good of our country. So I decided, instead of just complaining about it, doing something about it. I understand the Constitution. I understand the role of an elected official, and I believe that our congressional district deserves better representation. So that's why I decided to run. What I saw was that America just holds this unparalleled position in the world as a beacon of hope and security. So many countries depend upon us for that security and to be that leader and to do the right thing, such as leading a coalition against a terrorist group such as ISIS. And there's really no other country that can fill that role. So it's something that we have to take seriously. And it was really disappointing when I saw Trump denigrating our allies, such as NATO and the Republic of Korea, cozying up to dictators. And you didn't see the Republican Party speaking out against that, when the Republican Party has always said they are about national security. They're about strong presence abroad. They weren't doing that when Trump was in office. And I saw the negative impact that had. The mission in the Middle East was very rewarding. I'm glad that I got to be a part of it and work alongside people from all sorts of backgrounds to accomplish a common mission. A lot of them were probably Republican, and we probably wouldn't have agreed on political parties or political ideology, but we were willing to set that aside for the sake of completing the mission. And that's what we need to see more of in Congress. I think it's really important that as a Democrat, we have to be able to call out our party when we think that our party can do better. That's the stark difference between me and Young Kim. When I saw the cabinet selections that Joe Biden was putting out, I was very vocal about my displeasure and disappointment that we didn't have a single AAPI, Asian American, Pacific Islander, who was appointed to a cabinet secretary position. Now, there are Asian Americans who are in the cabinet, but for over 20 years, we've always had an Asian American Pacific Islander who was a cabinet secretary leading an entire department. And while I'm thrilled that Kamala Harris is vice president and that we have other cabinet positions, it's a real disappointment that someone like Julie Su was not selected to be labor secretary for the United States when she's done such an outstanding job, for California. And there are countless other Asian American leaders who could have filled cabinet secretary posts. And I was vocal about it. I put it out there. A lot of Democrats were upset that I would criticize, but that is my job because I'm an American first. The political party doesn't define me. And when you see something that needs to be improved, you have to speak out, even if it is a critique of your own political party. I think the Asian population has become more engaged in politics. Well, I think it had a lot to do with Asian American voters turning out and recognizing that politics is important, that if you don't have a seat at the table, you're going to be part of the menu. So we're seeing a lot more Asian Americans, not just voting, but also running for office. But still, there's always going to be more and more people, immigrants that are naturalizing, that are getting the right to vote, that we have to reach out to and convince to take that step to actually go vote. And that'll be a big part of my campaign. 大家好，我的名字是陈介飞，我今天想让你知道我要选第39区国会众议员，希望你们可以支持我，谢谢。